You're listening to The Pete Sheppard Show.
Fly ball in a right center field. Lengthy run here for Lucas. He is not going to get it. It's on the track. That's going to score one run. Here comes the second run. Abreu touches home plate. And how about the shot by Narvaez? The Red Sox lead it 4-1.
Oh, and he drove it too. He just broke an 0 for 17 slump with an enormous double for the Red Sox to extend this thing. A big hit by Carlos, and that's going to do it for Gossman.
Huge win last night by the Red Sox in Toronto. Good morning, everybody. And welcome to the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports, the digital network. Thanks for checking us out across the awesome video platform that we have. We got a lot to discuss today. MLB playoff race is heating up big time. Lots of great games last night. Lots of thrilling endings. Some scary stuff as well. We're going to break it all down for you, tell you who's ahead in the playoff race and who's in trouble. Lots of NFL and college football news as well. So we're going to cover it all today here on the Pete Sheppard Show. Thanks for checking me out again across the Coastal Sports Digital Network. Awesome video platform. And, of course, on our awesome app, SR1029 The Game, on the Odyssey app. Check us out on YouTube, Kick, Rumble, CSD in Florida, LinkedIn. And, as always, you can call or text the show, 727-858-6650, 727-858-6650. Some exciting finishes last night around Major League Baseball. We're going to start with that today. And then we'll get into some NFL and college football news as well concerning the SEC and the ACC. Mike Gundy, no mullet, finally gets canned at Oklahoma State after a long and 21 years and a very extensive career overall. Very, very successful, but not lately. He kind of morphed into Dabo Swinney a little bit. Does not want to adapt to the business side of college football, and if you don't, you're out. And it's nothing against Mike. He was a great coach, but the game is the way the business is run now has passed him by. It's passed Dabo Swinney by, and it's adapt or die. It's that simple. All right, we welcome in right out of the gate, Angel Martinez up in Tampa. Good morning, Angel. How are you doing? Exciting stuff. Your Phillies have already clinched the division, so it's not really exciting for you. No. But for the rest of us, there's a lot going on. And even though our buddy Jay Flannelly up in Ann Arbor, one of the biggest Mets fans I know, they pulled an anti-Met last night. They get down 6-1 and come back and win. We'll get to the highlights of that as well. The Yankees clinched the playoff spot. The Red Sox are right there with a one-game lead in the wild card race for the second spot as well. Things are really heating up. So how are you doing this morning?
I am doing well. Good morning, everybody. I would think I'm just going to go out here on a crazy limb and say it's going to be in the ALCS. Red Sox versus Mariners in the ALCS. I think the Red Sox will surprise a lot of folks going in deep into the playoffs. I mean, that turnaround you guys have had after Alex Cora felt like he just threw his hands up like, listen, I'm done with this whole muckety-muck stuff. I'm through with it. But the Red Sox probably is there a I know we have like comeback players. Is there a comeback team of the year award?
No, I mean, look, the kids have a lot to do with it, and when Roman Anthony comes back and whatever. No, I don't think so. I think people thought they would be in the hunt for the postseason this year. I thought people thought they'd be in the hunt, and quite frankly, it's about what I thought. I did not think that for like the first week of May. I'm talking about back in March in spring training. I felt good about it. I still wasn't sure about Rafael Devers, and I still think that whole deal is going to come back, and very well could come back to bite him in the ass because they missed it was a total salary dump. They're going to miss that bat in the lineup, and like I said, when they dealt him, whatever it was, for whatever it was, nothing but a salary dump. They can make up all the excuses they want. Not Alex Cora and not Breslow, but being told up top by John Henry. But, I mean, they just won 7 out of 8. They swept the Yankees. Just won 2 in a ring, and then they dealt them. Anyway, what's done is done. And the Giants are still sort of in the hunt as well. We're going to break down all the American and National League stuff. But no, I would say you want like a comeback team, maybe in Major League Baseball. If the Cincinnati Reds were now a game back, and a horrible loss last night to Pittsburgh, 4-2. I think clearly they would get my vote. I think Terry Francona is going to be up for National League Manager of the Year. I think Alex Cora is going to be up for American League Manager of the Year. That I'll say. And we'll take still a ways to go. Another few games to go. But think about it. In 6 days, the postseason begins, right? I think the postseason begins on Tuesday, next Tuesday.
Yep.
So, that's going to be exciting for many of us, particularly those fans in the Northeast. I mean, hopefully the Red Sox, your Phillies, and maybe the Mets, the Yankees definitely, and maybe the Mets as well if they can hang in there. Hang in there. But we shall see. There's a long way to go. Did you see the Scooble pitch last night to Finch? And Finch went to square for Cleveland and went to bunt, and it was about a 95-mile-an-hour fastball went off the bat into his face, and Scooble was clearly rattled after that. Cleveland will come back and winning the game, but I thought I had the video of it. It's kind of scary when you see it. But anyway, that race is unbelievable. The Seattle's clinched, but Houston's right there. It's going to come right down. Probably this Sunday before we have anything finalized, more than likely. From my perspective, from a Red Sox fan perspective, I hope it doesn't come down to Sunday. But my gut feeling is that it might. And we'll see now that the Yankees have clinched a playoff spot. We'll see if they take it easy. The Red Sox can still catch them and have home field. But I don't think the Red Sox are not intimidated by the Yankees. They pretty much had their number this year, whether it be at Fenway or at Yankee Stadium. So they just want to get in the tournament. More than likely, if things pretty much stay the way they are, it'll be the Red Sox and Yankees in the 4-5 matchup in the first round, and we'll take it from there. All right, let's see. Let's start with the Red Sox win last night, and as you heard in that cut, they took a lead in the second inning. Carlos Narvaez, who they got from the Yankees, had a 2-run double in the sixth. Nathaniel Lowe had 2 RBI singles, and the Red Sox beat the Toronto Blue Jays last night by a score of 4-1. So what all this means right now is that Toronto has a 1-game lead over the Yankees for the division. So the Yankees can still win the division. I would rather face the Yankees. I always do this. Be careful what you wish for, because people, we've had the Yankees number, beat Toronto last night, but Toronto has beaten the Red Sox more than a few times this year. I think they match up better with the Yankees, so you never know. The Yankees are still fighting for a division, so maybe they're not going to take it as easy as you think, because I'm sure they'd want to win the division. But the Red Sox are 4 games behind Toronto now for the division lead. And they are 3 games behind the Yankees for the number 2 wild card spot, or for the number 1 wild card spot, I should say. The number 2 wild card spot right now. Detroit now is the third. Detroit has actually lost the division lead technically for at least a few hours. Have lost the lead in the American League Central. The Cleveland Indians came back and beat them last night. As I said, Scooble got rattled after he hit Finch. He had a wild pitch, a balk, and he became unglued, and understandably so. Houston is just a game back. So there's right there. There it is. The Red Sox have a 1-game lead over Detroit, and they have a 2-game lead over Houston. So Houston and Detroit battling out for that wild card. Seattle's already clinched a playoff spot. And then we go to the National League, and we'll get to the Mets, and they hang on. Right now, they are back in the lead by 1 game over both Cincinnati and Arizona. So we'll get to all the highlights in baseball. Let's do it. Let's do it right now. Let us begin. Boy, we are so not used to seeing this, but let's get to the Mets and the Cubs in a thrilling game yesterday. Start.
Everybody else in the National League. He's got a 10-game hitting streak working. And he drives one out to left center field. Deep in the gap goes Crow Armstrong, and it's out of here.
Actually, I take that back. I take that back. Let me. Sometimes I get clouded, and I want to get to the Red Sox stuff first, which I have video of. So, Angel, if we could scroll down, and let's see, scroll down, and let's go to Navarez extending the Red Sox lead from Nesson. And this is that hit that I played, but here is the video of that. And then we'll get to the Mets and the Cubs and everything else in Major League Baseball.
Right.
Fly ball into right center field. Lengthy run here for Lucas. He is not going to get it. It's onto the track. That's going to score one run. Here comes the second run. Abreu touches home plate. And how about the shot by Narvaez? They're kind of waiting for him to go that way all night long, and he does, and the Red Sox lead it 4-1.
Oh, and he drove it too. Looked like it was another split. Down over the plate. He stays on this thing. He just broke an 0 for 17 slump with an enormous double for the Red Sox to extend this thing. What a big hit by Carlos, and that's going to do it for Gossman. That is enormous.
Yeah, thanks to Dave O'Brien and Lou Merlone with the call on Nesson yesterday. Meanwhile, Angel, if we could scroll up, Nathaniel Lowe also had a very big night for the Red Sox. Went 2 for 2 with a couple of walks, had RBI as well. So here's Nathaniel Lowe after the game, speaking on Nesson with Jemiah Webster.
Well, Nathaniel, you had a tough finale in Tampa. You mentioned how you wanted to get a refresh, enjoy the off day. How good did it feel tonight getting back to the hitter that you expect to be?
Yeah, that one's over. Tonight was all that mattered, and I was really happy to put some good swings on some good pitches to hit tonight. Obviously get a couple runs across, and we're really happy with the result.
You also mentioned how you need to break the stigma about the big hit, but you're able to get 2 big hits tonight. To be able to come through in those spots, how satisfying was it for you?
Yeah, not that big, just a couple singles, but they count, so that's all that matters. We're happy to drive in some runs and get some offense going tonight.
You guys up against Kevin Gossman, who was on a stretch of 4 straight complete games, including 4 straight quality starts, including a complete game, and one where he went 8 innings there. To be able to chase him after just 5 2/3, how significant was that for the group?
Yeah, he's really tough, man. I've been on the wrong end of a couple of his great outings, but we know what we're up against coming in here and really confident with our group, and we took some really disciplined at-bats and obviously got a chance to get to him, so we're really happy with it.
Congrats on the first one. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, if we could scroll up one more video from the Red Sox. Sox skipper Alex Cora is talking about the Red Sox trying to find a rhythm.
Right. And here we go.
About this, but just how, I guess, important is it that these guys aren't letting the moments be too big here?
It's important, and we try to talk to them, but sometimes it's not enough. They have to live through it. So big one today, big one. The road trip so far has been a positive one, right? We got the big boy tomorrow on the mound, and we got Bayo the last day. See how it goes, but just keep putting up good at bats. I think offensively, we kind of have found a stroke, a rhythm in Tampa, and today was another good day.
All right, as Red Sox skipper Alex Cora, and like you said, the big man on the mound tonight. That's right, Garrett Crochet, 17-5 on the year with a 2.69 ERA, and going against Max Scherzer, 5-4, 5.06 ERA. So this is another game. The Red Sox definitely have the advantage in the starting pitching matchup here, and hopefully they get the win tonight. And they can take 2 out of 3 against Toronto. I think they pretty much will seal it. All I got to do is basically go 500 here down the stretch. But I want better than that. But they win last night, 4-1. Nice way to start this final road trip of the year. All right, now let's go to the Mets and Chicago. Top of the first inning, the Mets take the lead.
Everybody else in the National League. So the 10-game hitting streak working. And he drives one out to left center field. Deep in the gap goes Crow Armstrong, and it's out of here! Francisco Lindor delivers the keynote with a leadoff home run. As he has
Gary Cohen on SNY, so it's 1-0 Mets, right? That's in the first inning. Let's go now to the bottom of the first inning. Here come the Cubs.
He's trying to steal a cheap run there.
Fly ball right field. Soto back some more. It's over his head.
Soto.
2 runs coming in. Santana into second. The Cubs have the lead.
Soto. Should have caught that ball, by the way. Looked terrible. Saw the highlight this morning, and that was a catchable ball. And, man, would he have been the GOAT in this game? But it turns out not so. So it's 2-1. Cubbies. Bottom of the first inning. Let's head to the bottom of the second.
Line drive out towards left center field, and that's going to score a couple. Hap around first, on his way to second. In is Shaw. Now comes Nico, and it's 5-1.
5-1 Cubbies up on the Mets. You're thinking, oh, my goodness. But let's head now to the top of the 5th inning.
Kinetics, though. That's drilled to deep right field. Suzuki going back into the well. That ball is out of here. Brandon Nimmo ties the game with a 3-run homer.
So the game is 6-6 in the top of the 5th inning. The Mets actually took the lead. Let's head to the bottom of the 6th inning.
Back up the middle of the base hit. Here comes Nico around third. He's in to score, and we're tied up. It's 7-7.
7-7 in the 6th inning. Let's head to the top of the 8th inning. Say it ain't so. Mets down 5-1. Can they come back?
And he drives one deep left center field. Crow Armstrong back, and it's out of here. Francisco Alvarez puts the Mets in front with a 2-run homer. Alvarez with the biggest hit of his life, his 10th home run of the year, and the Mets are back in front. It's 9-7 in the 8th.
Gary Cohen with the call again on SNY. That would be the final. The Mets come back and they win 9-7. They now are back in that 3rd place in the wild card race, a game up on Arizona and Cincinnati. Cincinnati first. Okay, Yankees and the White Sox. Now, you would think Yankees trying to clinch a playoff spot against this pathetic team. Let's head to the top of the 6th inning.
Here's pitch number 80 for Luis Gil. Deep drive to right field, and this one is gone. Oh my! Colson Montgomery. That one went way back into the Bronx night. A 2-run shot, and the White Sox take the lead here in the 6th inning.
And they did. It was 2-1 in the 6th. We head to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Yankees tied it, and then this happened.
And the pitch. Looped into center field. Coming on Taylor. He's not going to make the play. Here comes Judge. He'll score. And the Yankees are going to the postseason. Caballero drives in Judge.
Ooh.
The Yankees with 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning. And they've clinched the postseason berth for the 60th time in their history. He's helping the Yankees get to the postseason.
Very surprised.
All right, don't want to hear any more analysis. There you go. Yankees win. 3-2. Frank Sinatra in the background. Baltimore in a who cares game blanks Tampa Bay 6-0. Cleveland and Detroit. This is a huge game, as it's incredible. You talk about the Tigers limping in possibly to the postseason. Unbelievable. That's such a huge lead. Let's start with the top of the 6th inning.
Oh, man, that ball's demolished, and this is a 2-0 ball game. In a heartbeat, that left. It was Mr. Green with the baseball bat in Cleveland, if you were wondering who murdered that baseball.
That's a Clue reference for those of you who have never played a board game in your life. Used to be a very good board game. Now you can actually play it on the nap. I liked Clue back in the day.
It was good.
You got to have at least 3 people, though. You can't really play with 2.
No.
That's better with like 4, 5, or 6 people.
Yep.
Anyway, that was a Clue reference for those of you who have never heard of board games. Angel and I used to play board games back in the day, occasionally.
Yeah, more than occasionally.
So it's 2-0 Detroit. Thanks to FanDuel Sports with the call there. Now let us head to the bottom of the sixth. Is that where I want to go? Yes, let's head to the bottom of the sixth inning.
Kyle Finnegan getting ready for Detroit. Now the 2-1 to Arias. Slow chopper to first. That'll get the go-ahead run home. 3-2 Cleveland, and a ball still has not left the infield. Is this not the most improbable three-run rally you've ever seen?
A ball never, yes it is. Never left the infield. And you're not going to get, look at the jump Jose got. You can't throw him out. You just got to take the out and move on. So they've got 2 outs. They got 3 on the board.
So Tarek Skubal, the reigning AL Cy Young Award winner, he became unglued in the sixth inning. More on that in a second. So it's 3-2. Let's now head to the bottom of the seventh.
Neiman. Line drive, base hit left field. Hedges scores. Here comes Kwan.
What a nice at-bat.
So it's 5-2, and then thanks to Guardian Sports Network, and now we head to the last pitch of the game. It's 5-2 Guardians.
Caught. Book it. From impossible to first place.
Yes, and indeed they are. They have the tiebreaker right now. The Guardians win 5-2. As I said, Skubal really became unglued. David Fry was struck in the face by his 99-mile-an-hour fastball. He also had when he squared the bunt, it wasn't Skubal's ball. It was a sort of an inside pitch, but nothing crazy. It was just a crazy deflection off his bat. And in that inning, he also had a throwing error, a wild pitch, and a balk. I mean, talk about the ultimate trifecta. And so with 2 runners on, Fry squared to bunt. Skubal's pitch drilled the DH in the nose and the mouth area. Fry collapsed. The distraught Skubal immediately dropped his cap and glove, covered his mouth in disbelief. He was driven off the field in a cart, and he was being assessed at the Lutheran Medical Center. But the Guardians come away with the 5-2 win and take over first place, at least for a day. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, Terry Francona's Reds trying to hang in there, but man, oh man, this was very unexpected. The top of the second, Pittsburgh takes a commanding lead.
That's hit hard to left field, to the wall, and clear the deck. Opposite cannonball coming. The Pirates take a 4-0 lead. O'Neal Cruz hits his 20th home run of the season, and his first since August the 30th.
That one right there just shows you how talented O'Neal Cruz is and how strong he is.
It's a blast, by the way, for those of you who didn't catch it.
Leave the ballpark to...
So it's 4-0, right? And another type of Cruz. Here comes Cincinnati's. This is Dela Cruz.
In the air, deep right. No doubt. Demolished by Dela Cruz. And he looked right to the dugout. I wonder if he called that. 415 feet.
Another bomb.
Blast. He has rediscovered his potent power.
Well, you mentioned the fact that he was hitting the ball the other way.
Yep, so Dela Cruz made it 4-2 in the bottom of the second. That's how the game would end. The Reds left a shitload of runners on base. They really did. A very tough loss. They lose 4-2. Miami beats Philadelphia in a ho-hum game there, 6-5. Atlanta and Washington, nobody cares. The Braves win 3-2. Minnesota and Texas, no one cares about that. Minnesota won 4-1. KC and the Angels. KC doubles up the Angels 8-4 in that one. Seattle and Colorado, also in a bit of a nail biter.
To the gap. Left center field. It touches down. Base hit. Raley scores. JP's waving home. Julio to the plate. Josh Naylor. What a knock. What a moment. The Mariners have cashed it in the 8th inning.
again, Seattle is on top by 4 games. They basically clinched the division over Houston. So in the West, they win that one. They come from behind and beat the pathetic Rockies by a score of 4-3. Arizona and the Dodgers. This is huge. The Arizona Diamondbacks are trying to stay in the wild card race, and they are. And let's see. Let's get to this one. And Dodgers strike first.
That's a high drive to deep left field. Back goes McCarthy at the wall. It is gone. Teoscar Hernandez finds the seats, and the Dodgers strike first. Number 25 of the year for Teoscar. 1-0 in the second.
All right, it's 1-0. Let us head to the top of the 7th, I believe.
Delivers a 2-2 to Rortvedt. Rortvedt crushes a ball to deep right field. He's got his first home run as a Dodger. Benjamin biceps flexes. 4-0 Dodgers. On a 2-strike pitch, no less. Rortvedt finds the seats.
And for the first time, he gets Shohei to greet him at home. An extra flex coming in.
4-0 Dodgers, but this is the pennant race. This is where the playoff race. This is where it heats up. Here come the D-backs. We head to the bottom of the 7th inning.
Dell cranks it. Way back. Goodbye.
All right, so now after that Del Castro home run, it is 4-3. Dodgers in the bottom of the 7th inning. Let's head to the bottom of the 9th inning, shall we? Drama.
Base hit. Hurry. Here comes Tawa. Alex Cole with a throw. He answers.
D-backs win. The D-backs win. They come from behind 4-0 and stay in the wild card hunt. They beat the Dodgers by a score of 5-4. San Diego, by the way, is still threatening with the Dodgers. And San Diego, I believe, holds the tiebreaker. They're trying to win the division. They've clinched a playoff spot. And, man, they got it going in the bottom of the 1st inning. Big yesterday over Milwaukee.
O'Hearn to right field and deep. It is back. It is gone. Grand slam. Ryan O'Hearn. 4-0 San Diego. One swing of the bat.
Don Arcillo with the call on MLB TV yesterday, and they were not done. The Padres were not done.
Fly ball down the right field line. Will it stay fair towards the pole? And it is off the pole.
It's gone.
Gone. 2-run home run for Luis Arraez. Padres take a 6-0 lead.
Yeah, they wouldn't need any more than that. Really didn't need anything else besides the O'Hearn grand slam in the 1st. They did get another solo shot from Jose Iglesias in the bottom of the 8th inning. They go on to beat Milwaukee 7-0. St. Louis and San Francisco also, they're trying to hang around. This was a back and forth game, but in the end, here ends up being the game-winning hit at the top of the 9th inning.
Swing, shot, hit to the right field corner. Go, Victor, go. He's around second. On his way to third. Pop's going to wave it. Here comes the relay. Throw to the plate. Is up the line. Donovan with 4 doubles ties this game.
Yep, and they go on to win 9-8 over San Francisco. Let's go through again in the division. In the American League right now, Toronto is still up by 1 game over the Yankees and 4 on the Red Sox. We'll get to the wild card standings in a second. In the Central, Cleveland and Detroit are tied, but Cleveland has the tiebreaker right now, so the Guardians are in first place technically in the American League Central. We go to the AL West, Seattle with a 4-game lead over Houston. Houston still fighting for the wild card. In the National League, the Phillies have already clinched, 11 games up on the Mets. In the East, in the Central, Milwaukee has a 6.5-game lead on the Cubs. And the Dodgers have a 1.5-game lead on the Padres in the division. Now, once that being said, we go to the wild card race. In the American League, it is still the Yankees with a 4-game lead. Total 3 over the Red Sox and 4 over Detroit. Houston is just 1 game back. Kansas City's done. They're 6 out. So it's basically going to come down to Detroit, Houston, and the Red Sox to see who gets that third spot down the stretch here. Right now is the Yankees 1, Red Sox 2, and the Detroit Tigers, believe it or not, 3. We go to the National League. The Cubs have a 7-game lead in the wild card hunt, 1.5 games up on San Diego for the second spot, 7 games up on the Mets, who creeped back in after that comeback last night. The Mets have a 1-game lead in the wild card race over Cincinnati and Arizona. So now you are all caught up with that. Some exciting stuff here down the stretch. I didn't feel I had to lead with Jackson Dart like they did on ESPN's morning show today. I think the baseball was a little more exciting, especially from a story that happened in the middle of the afternoon yesterday, sort of. We will get to the NFL. We will get to Jackson Dart. We will hear from Jackson Dart as well. Lots of college football news to tell you about, lots of NFL news to tell you about. Great guest coming up at 8:05 with Bill Sparrows from Bookies.com, senior betting analyst there. Some not only intriguing and sports news, there's some betting news as well. And interesting stuff about UMass. Remember last week, Angel, I said late at 35? Mm-hmm. Whenever, and Iowa covered. They covered. And this week the line is even higher. I think it's like 50 or 47.5 as UMass will go try to kick a field goal against Missouri. UMass, the most horrific college football program, maybe in the history of college football in Division I, will continue to embarrass themselves on the road against a formidable opponent in Missouri, so they can collect their $600,000 check, make fools out of themselves, and just an awful, embarrassing program, which I still can't believe it is where it is, and I still can't believe it hasn't bankrupted some of the other sports at that fine institution. But anyway, we digress. Phil Casanetti's Sports World is Saugus, Mass. In Saugus, Mass. is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. So get on down there. Phil Casanetti's Sports World in Saugus, Mass. 184 Broadway. Call us 781-233-7222. Remember, you don't have to be there. Go online or call us 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus, be there. Can't stress enough. It's not just New England sports memorabilia. It's a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, some great stuff, no matter who you're a fan of. Check it out. Also, for the best articles in audio, there's only one source that provides everything you need 365 days a year to satisfy your sports crave. It's Total Sports Prep. The staff combing through the best articles in audio so you don't have to. Sports and non-sports kicker stories will leave you laughing all day long. To get your free trial of Total Sports Prep, contact them, info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. That's info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. Total Sports Prep, the name says it all. Lots of college football news to talk about. Mike Gundy is gone at Oklahoma State. Some other changes going on. We got a great clip from the Pat McAfee show from Bruce Arians talking about what's going to take place at Virginia Tech. And the NFL highlight, Micah Parsons expects pain when going up against Dak Prescott. This is the game that we're circled. Once that trade was made, they'll be going at it, Green Bay at Dallas, and I think they're going to annihilate the Cowboys. I really do. Number one, they're going to be pissed off on the way they played against a bad Cleveland team and lost that game. And I just think it's going to be a long night for Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. I think Green Bay is going to obliterate them. But everybody can watch that on Sunday night on NBC at 8:20. So that and a whole lot more. Bill Sparrows, Bookies.com, senior betting analyst at 8:05. All part of the Pete Sheppard Show today on a Hump Day Wednesday on the Coastal Sports Digital Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Hey everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them, sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woo-hoo. Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
This was the place where when I came on my visit, these were the coaches, this was the personnel department, just everybody involved in the whole community of being a Giant is what I wanted to be a part of. And it's definitely a special group. I mean, you see how many players and former players who are just walking around and going through the facilities every day. And I think that says a ton just about how special this place is. And when you kind of have that leadership and that connection of family throughout, even outside of the facilities, it definitely makes it unique.
Jackson Dart. So say to women, Dart! Hey, finally, before they put the Mara crew in a padded room with a straitjacket, they make the right decision. It should have been made earlier this season, but Russell Wilson is out and Jackson Dart is in as the starting quarterback for the New York Giants, and he gets to go up against one of the best defenses in the league, right now anyway, with the L.A. Chargers. But don't forget, Najee Harris is out for the season now. Interesting. It'll be an interesting game, something that we will be focused on, as we always are in the NFL. But Jackson Dart gets his first start of the year replacing Russell Wilson, who is he should be done. He should be done. Had a very nice career, but I think the time has come for him. No question about it. What, Angel?
No, I said yeah.
Oh, okay. Yep. All right, we'll get to more NFL. Actually, let me do a little NFL segment here. Let's see. Here's Micah Parsons, as promised, on being the last player actually to sack Tom Brady, and now his thoughts about this coming game Sunday night, as I said, when Green Bay will go into Dallas and obliterate them. He talks about what it means to go after Dak Prescott.
Micah, you were the last guy ever to sack Tom Brady. It happened in that playoff game. Is there any quarterback that you've enjoyed taken down more than anyone else?
Probably is Tom, because every time I see him, it's a competitive matchup, whether it's on the field, off the field, whether it's golf or Fanatics games, he's always trying to be the best. So when you can say you're the last person to take out an elite competitor like Tom, it's a special privilege.
And what if you get that opportunity? I know you will want to with Dak. What would that feel like?
It's gonna be painful. You know what I mean? Dak's my guy. He was always like a good mentor for me. But you know what it is. I always told him if I ever faced him that, it'll be a great matchup. So I'm excited to see what Sunday brings itself.
So am I. I can't wait. I think Dak Prescott's going to be in for a long, long day. It would have been maybe a tad more competitive had Cleveland not been embarrassed. I mean, had Green Bay not been embarrassed by Cleveland, but nevertheless. All right.
By the way, since you mentioned Jackson Dart, of course, our local Deputy Sean calls in, because I'm pretty sure he's got something to say. Sean, good morning. How are you?
What's up, Officer Sean?
It's a great day to be a Giants fan, finally.
Hey, real quick before you go on. I don't know if you're going to run into Otis today or you're going to talk to him, whether you're talking with Craig and those guys, whatever. But it's Otis's birthday today, so happy birthday, my man Otis.
Oh, I'll make sure to tell him happy birthday, and I'll let him know you said it.
Yep.
I got you.
He listens. He doesn't call in, but I know he listens.
Does he?
Yeah. They all do.
Eventually, I got to make him call in. Every time I bring up the Giants on Hugh and Sheppard, he's always got to, come over here and start, smack talking the Giants. Eventually, if I see it enough on the show, he might show up. He
finally got your wish. Did you do cartwheels yesterday when the official announcement came?
I couldn't believe it. I thought I was dreaming. I thought I had to go to different NFL sources to make sure it was true. I mean, and it just, I see all the people talking about complaining that, it's too early for Dart or Russell Wilson's not the problem. It's the coaching. Look at Daniel Jones, yada, 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 all that, and all those geniuses of the world. But I don't think they realize, for one, that this was the plan. Was their plan the entire time, but they were expecting Russell Wilson to actually do something and play like a good quarterback and not just completely.
I don't know why.
Less than
I don't
3
know
games.
why. I don't know why the Giants thought that. I just don't. I think it was.
I mean, the way that from what I understand with the Giants was we knew Jackson Dart was going to be the starter either by the end of the year or going into next year. And Russell Wilson was kind of the rent a quarterback type deal, let him play, and hope to God that it's the Russell Wilson from like the Seattle Seahawks or maybe even the Pittsburgh Steelers back when they were winning games and say, hey, he succeeded in Pittsburgh. Maybe
that's why they let him go. That's why Pittsburgh let him go. If they was that good, it would have kept him.
Learn. But I think what people forget to realize is that you can't learn from sitting on the sideline. I mean, you just can't. Dart needs to get the experience. They've been putting him in prepackaged plays that apparently never involve passing.
Well, Sean, I think it depends on the situation. Sometimes you can learn on the sideline. Patrick Mahomes will tell you he learned a lot from Alex Smith back in the day. I mean, you can learn in certain situations, but this wasn't one of them. This is a weird thing. If Russell Wilson was that good, they never would have gone after Aaron Rodgers. So.
The Giants said, hey, Russell Wilson completely sucks. We'll throw him in. And just watching him in preseason, I know it's preseason. He's going against, third, fourth stringers, so it doesn't really mean much to people. But just watching him play in preseason, his football IQ is just amazing. And then watching him just in the Chiefs, like as soon as he feels the pressure, he just drops his eyes and took off.
Yeah.
I mean, you see what plays the Giants are doing, and they're like kind of like, hey, they did the RPO with Jackson Dart. I think it was almost a first down, or if not a gain, it was like a gain of 5 or 6 yards. They put Russell Wilson in, did the same play, and then went for like negative yard. I don't think the coaches realize Russell Wilson is 36 years old. This man is not the Russell Wilson from like 14 years ago.
I thought it was a big mistake.
Let's be real here. He's not the young Russell Wilson that can make those kind of plays anymore. And I think that's what people don't realize is when you see Jackson Dart come in and play against starters, yeah, he's going to have probably some bad throws, bad reads. As
all rookies do. So, but you got to get him in there. You got to get him in there.
I think this offense is going to look a lot different. It's going to go from a non-creative, bland offense to Jackson Dart making some real good plays and making that Metcalf look like a genius with some of those plays. I mean.
All right, Officer Sean. Great call. Thanks for the call. Appreciate you.
I do have one more thing.
Yeah.
Yankees. Got to be one of the better teams in MLB, clinching a playoff spot. It was a weird way to clinch it. I'm not going to lie. Seeing the score on a wild pitch and then the Chicago White Sox outfielder, I don't know what he was doing, but thank you for not catching that ball and just letting it drop down in front of you.
That was certainly a proper wild pitch because that thing was a rocket about 10 feet over the catcher's head into the but thanks for the call, Sean. Appreciate it.
No problem.
And
have a good one.
Talk soon. Tell us happy birthday. Yeah, that wild pitch it went about 10 feet over the catcher's head into the and I mean, like real old school little league stuff. Boom. All right, let's continue with some NFL stuff. Then I got some college video I got to play for you. Mike Tomlin, I'm playing against Carson Wentz. This is from 93.7 The Fan.
I don't necessarily view it as a negative thing for the Minnesota Vikings, at least in the short term, that Carson is playing for him. We were in a similar situation a year ago. We're playing in Indianapolis, man, and I commented to the guys that, keep Richardson upright. Don't put Flacco in the game, and, Flacco ended up in the game.
I still can't believe they beat the Patriots with 5 turnovers, and they still had a chance at the very end. Anyway, I'm just about over it. It takes me about Wednesday to get over losses. How about this, before we get to college football, how about Andrew Luck on CBS Sports yesterday? This is funny. He tries to name every Indy starting quarterback that came after him.
Can you name the 10 quarterbacks who have started for the Colts after your departure?
Okay, Philip, Carson, Nick, Jacoby, my man Jacoby, of course. Anthony Richardson.
Yes.
Joe Flacco.
Yes.
Incredible because I played with his younger brother John here, who's an amazing teammate and a doctor now. So I've always been a huge Joe fan.
Fantastic.
Sam Ellinger start a game?
Yes, he did.
What number am I at?
You got a couple more to go. Yeah. 3 more I've got still.
You're going to say him, and I'll be like, shoot, I should have known that.
You didn't mention Matt Ryan, did you?
Oh, Matt. I didn't mention Matt.
No.
That's right.
And you didn't mention Brian Hoyer.
Brian Hoyer.
And Gardner Minshew.
And Gardner Minshew. Wow. A Wazoo legend.
I think we got them all.
I'm a little embarrassed I didn't get them all. Thanks for the help.
Matt Ryan was in the studio. Anyway, very funny stuff. All right, let's get to some college football here. OSU AD saying Mike Gundy's exit handled the right way, cites the long-term view. But when the news broke yesterday, here's Sports Center with Finey and Matt.
But hey, look, this is one of those things where 11 of 12, it had just gone south for a guy that's really spent half his life at the program, quarterback for the team and head coach. What do you make of doing this move today?
He's a Hall of Fame coach, but it needed to be done. When things spiral out of control, and losing the other night at home to Tulsa, that was the final blow, just like with UCLA and just like with other schools. It's better to get rid. Now, the problem when you do it this soon, you potentially lose your roster.
That's right.
But I'm not sure there's that much to lose out there. So I think the school said we need to make a clean break. There's no easy way to fire someone as legendary as him, but I agree with the school for making it now.
Yeah, and look, to what Paul is saying, before 4 games, you can either redshirt or you can enter the transfer portal, which some of these players might. You can see Oklahoma State, they're going to be against Baylor Saturday, 3:30 Eastern on ESPN2.
I don't know what the point spread is in that, but take Baylor, lay it. So, yeah, 1-2 start, and you know, the loss to Tulsa, which they had not lost to them, like, since, 1950 or something like that. They lost 19-12. It was terrible. Also cost me parlay and some small shekels. But anyway, 21 years, has a very good career, Hall of Fame college football coach, no question about it, but that had to be done. Meanwhile, Angel, if we could scroll down on my Twitter page, also yesterday on the Pat McAfee show, Bruce Arians was there, Mr. Virginia Tech himself, and they started talking about not only Mike Gundy, but what's going to happen at Virginia Tech, and here we go.
Right. And here we go.
And then Virginia Tech also fired Coach Pride. Now, joining us live in the Thunderdome is a man that was just reported as of yesterday being a part of the consulting group, basically, for Virginia Tech. He is Virginia Tech Hokie alumni, Virginia Tech Hokie belover. I mean, this guy loves Virginia Tech. And also, I think he's I don't know how many records you have at Virginia Tech at the quarterback position, but I know there's a lot of them that are very impactful to society as a whole. Virginia Tech looking for a coach. So now Oklahoma State's in the game, UCLA's in the game, and now you guys at Virginia Tech are in the game. How does that process go, and what are you looking for at this point? It has to be business, almost like business angle of it as well, or how do you kind of view the entire process?
Yeah, the whole thing's changed. It's all business now, and you got to find a businessman. I think first thing for Virginia Tech, we're going to hire a general manager and get him in charge of football. Then we'll get into the coaching search, and we're just in the ground stages now, but the university is making a huge financial commitment so that we can compete in the ACC like we should be. And I want to see Virginia Tech back when Sandman's blasting and we're winning games.
The whole place going absolutely insane. Had a chance to spend a night over there, and those hills are a good time.
It was awesome.
Went to a saloon. I think we were in a saloon at some time. I mean, it was good times. And then the pregame festivities, the tailgating, outrageous. I mean, it was great time. And then the walk to the stadium is even its own little adventure. It's like that place was built to be a college football place, it feels like. The vibes are that. Will the team ever get there? You said Virginia Tech is offering up a huge financial boost for the football team. That's seemingly happening in a lot of different places. I saw West Virginia make an announcement that we will be a part of the top funded tier, whatever that. What does that mean? What does that mean?
It's probably about $50 million into the athletic department, and for all sports, but that's what you're going to have in NAL business now. And you recruit a guy this year, you got to recruit him back next year. And all they want to do is how much money am I going to make? But it's changed, and you got to get people now that are in tune with the new business.
That's me. That's me playing DJ. Yes, those of you who don't know, that is Enter the Sandman. One of the great songs. One of the great things in college football, and well-known at Tech. So very interesting stuff there. All right, yesterday also, if we could scroll up, Angel, and this one is right under the show. Paul Feinbaum yesterday, talking about the College Football Playoff Committee. better be very careful here now. Yeah, and what he means by that, and I'll get to this in a second, because yesterday, the first edition of the 9-game SEC schedule has been released. The ACC was released earlier this week. So the conference unveiled the 2026 slate last night as it enters a new era that brings in to stride it with the leagues like the Big Ten and the Big 12. But here's Paul Feinbaum talking about the situation.
This is supposed to be a night to celebrate where the SEC is, but I'm getting angry listening to this conversation because, Greg, we're all dumbfounded by what we heard last year, and we have laid a marker from the SEC at the feet of the CFP, and they better deliver. And I'm not making threats because I don't have any more control over it than anybody else, but I know some people who do, and if they screw this up, they will be paying for it. And I don't know how or will, but they should, because this is unequivocal what the SEC has laid down tonight. Yeah. This is supposed to be a night to celebrate.
Again, as part of the new scheduling philosophy, all 16 teams have a set of 3 annual opponents, sort of like protected rivalries, but with a small twist. And that is the SEC will reevaluate its assigned annual opponents every 4 years. And that means more changes could be on the way by the time 2030 rolls around. So for now, each school knows all 9 of its opponents for next season in 2026, and at least 3 teams will play on a yearly basis over the next 4 years. The conference focused on protecting some of the most historic rivalries, like the Iron Bowl, obviously Auburn and Alabama, the Egg Bowl, Mississippi and Mississippi State, and also ushering in feuds like Oklahoma and Texas, the Red River rivalry under the SEC umbrella. So here's the annual opponents, at least for the next 4 years. Like for Alabama, I'm not going to go through every team. Alabama's going to have Auburn, Mississippi State, and Tennessee. Auburn will have Alabama, Georgia, and Vanderbilt. The Gators of Florida will have Georgia, Kentucky, South Carolina, and probably a new head coach. Georgia will have Auburn, Florida, and South Carolina. LSU will have Arkansas, Mississippi, Texas A&M. Again, I'm not going to go through all of these. Oklahoma will have Missouri, Ole Miss, and Texas. Tennessee will have Alabama, Kentucky, Vanderbilt. So no Florida there. But a Vanderbilt up-and-coming team, and people right now, Vanderbilt is better than Florida. Texas will have Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Texas A&M. A&M will have LSU, Missouri, and Texas. And Vandy will have Auburn, Mississippi State, and Tennessee. So outside of the annual opponents, the idea is that each program rotates through 6 additional conference foes per season, giving each team the opportunity to face every SEC team at least once over a period of 2 years, which I think is great. So all the kids can experience, the home and away type of situation. So under the new scheduling format, every team is required to play at least one Power 4 opponent, and that includes Notre Dame. Those games were not included in the SEC's announcement. So there you have it. So interesting stuff there out of the SEC. And I know it's not going to please everybody, but I think it's they kept the best rivalries going, at least for a while. All right, meanwhile, yesterday, right under that angel, right under Kevin Clark, Mayo Cristobal, the head coach of the Miami Hurricanes, was on his podcast and talked about Reuben Bain Jr., who should be a Heisman Trophy candidate, absolutely should, talking about how great he has been.
Well, I think you hit on most of the physical attributes, throughout what we were speaking about earlier. I would say he's even a better person. I would say he's even a harder worker. And I would say his football IQ, a lot like when we spoke about Cam last year, is through the roof. His sense, his feel for the game, his film study habits allow him to see things before they happen. So it lets him play twice as fast. But he loves the physicality of the game. He throws his body around recklessly. And he's got some of the heaviest hands you will ever see. People don't realize he's 275 pounds and he runs like he's 225 pounds. So, and he does not, you have to yank him out of the game. He will not come out. We literally have to send Jason Taylor over to yank him out, and that's a struggle.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I mean, listen, the whole team's just sort of looking a certain way right now. And it's fascinating to just see that it'll develop. But you mentioned, to me, and no one's ever going to be Aaron Donald. They're not even similar players in that regard. But I remember Jeff Fisher one time saying that the brilliance of Aaron Donald is he knows when winning time is, and he will set up a move for 58 minutes to use in the last 2 minutes to actually just win the game and say, this game's over. I'm calling game. And with me, I'm looking at Notre Dame, I'm looking at Florida, and I see both of those guys, particularly Bain, say, all right, it's winning time. I'm going to use my bend. I'm going to get under here. I'm going to end this game. I've really never seen a college player like it who on the defensive side is calling game against two high-profile opponents.
Yeah, I mean, in college football, I guess in any kind of football, you have to be able to rush the passer in the fourth quarter to close out games. I just, man, he's got the menu of his pass rush moves is pretty vast. And, he gets everything. He gets chip block, right? He gets the tight end staying in. He has the protection slid to him all the time. So we move him around a bunch he's not always going to get a one-on-one, but he does a good job splitting double teams too. So yeah, it's something having those two guys and the young guys that are coming around like Lightfoot, Isidore. The guy's playing really, really good football, and all these guys have a long way to go. But Ahmad Moten, it's just like Ruben Bain has really, in my opinion, separated himself as one of the best, if not the best player in the country.
No question about it. Absolutely. We'll hear more from Mario in a second here. And the Canes are off this week, the second-ranked Canes. They will get ready to head up to Tallahassee a week from Saturday. I will be glued to the TV Saturday night at 7 o'clock, I believe, on ESPN. That is where the Virginia Cavaliers will host Florida State. And let's see if Florida State maybe tries to look past Virginia, which would be a mistake. But anyway, the big matchup with Miami, and I think game day is going to be there again in Tallahassee a week from Saturday. We already know the game's the feature game on ABC at 7:30. I don't see why they wouldn't be there again. They had the highest rated program game day this past week at Coral Gables. So I see no reason why the biggest game in the state of Florida in a long time in college football is going to happen again when Miami goes up and to Florida State. I have mixed emotions. Do I want Florida State to get their ass kicked? A big part of me, yes, I do. On the other hand, if that happens, or even if they lose by a point or whatever, how pissed off are they going to be? Or do I want them to go into Virginia and really take care of business and win by? I can't root for Florida State to take care of business. I have to root for them to lose. There's just no getting around it. There's just no getting around it. Unfortunately for Oklahoma, they lost their quarterback, John Mateer, who was absolutely going to be a Heisman Trophy candidate. He'll undergo surgery today to address a right-hand injury sustained against Auburn. Broke his hand. Brent Venables announced it yesterday. And he's supposed to return to action at some point this season. Now, more from Mario Cristobal from the Joe Rose Show over at WQAM in Miami. And he talked about a number of, I'm not going to go over, we'll first play this cut. This is Mario talking about the Gators rivalry, which is not going to take place next year, or I don't think anytime soon, unfortunately.
We don't get to play them again. We're off the schedule now, and it's something that, as a player, I want to be involved in. And I got recruited, and we were dropped off their schedule when I got here as a player. So this was a game that, again, we want to keep that streak going. They haven't won here since 1977. Okay, we had a chance to play them up there last year, play them here this year. I wish we could play them every single year. It's good for the fan bases, for the state, for everybody. But yeah, man, press on. Want to know next year.
Yep, that's it. All right, now moving on. He's talked about preparing for Florida State.
Just stay on the aggressive, man. I mean, right away we're attacking it from top to bottom. And the biggest fight always is against human nature and complacency. I mean, from having, Dr. Kevin Oko fly in today, our sports psych, to making sure that we're attacking all the things, that, how it is right now, Joe. I mean, all of a sudden some people – they try to get in, right? It's really intrusive. They try to get in the heads of players and, you should be playing more and you should be getting the ball here and you should be doing that. And all that, you know what? You got to look at right now and say bullshit, right?
Yes.
We got to make sure this stays about team. It's a team sport, and nothing can get in the way of the team. Nothing.
Can't say bullshit on terrestrial radio, Coach, because you can't on this show. Bullshit, all the time. This show is full of bullshit. Look, Mario, too. You know what else he wants to do? He wants to go talk to Paul Maurice and go watch the Florida Panthers.
I saw them right before game time. I'm dying to get to one of their practices. Those guys are just stone cold killers on the ice, man. The way they bring physics. I mean, I went and watched them play, and the amount of bodies they just smash up against the glass. I love watching them play. So I look forward to, maybe when there's free time, I don't know when that is, but getting with them and just tapping into their mentality and their psychology, because they are awesome to watch.
That's absolutely fantastic. And one more from Coach Mario Cristobal about underappreciated players.
James Brockemeyer, Ahmad Moten. You look at your team, you want to be strong in the middle right, your center, your D tackle, your linebacker, your quarterback, your running back, your safety. ZP, my man Zach Poyser, also another one. Jacob. I mean, I could go on and on, but you know what, Joe? We don't need praise, man. I want you to get after their asses and make sure that we're just focused on getting better.
All right, that's fantastic. Love to hear that from head coach Mario Cristobal. And actually, there's one more, Angel, before we get to Bill Sparrows. If we could scroll down, and it's right under. You're gonna have to scroll down a little bit under the ESPN story about John Mateer. Right under that, it's also from Kevin Clark's podcast. I think Mario Cristobal had some great words yesterday on the podcast talking about when asked, "Is the U back?"
Right. And here we go.
Yeah, I'm like you. I think that statement is like, here's what happened. Back during that time, Miami was so damn good and also, irritated a lot of people with style of play and whatnot, that it was like a special place in time that is like ingrained in everybody's head, and the memories of some really dominant play with some arrogant moments, right? And some, but some really physical, high-level play of they were characters. I mean, those guys are iconic in so many ways. So, I mean, it's nostalgia theater, right? In this country now, that everybody wants back. Well, we don't want to go back. We want to go forward. We want to take the principles and values of that brand of football, but we want to take it forward. And I think the guys that play here, they want that too, because our guys are coming back to practice, they're coming back to games, they're getting around our players, they're providing awesome mentorship. And all they taught them about is moving forward, and taking it to modern day football. And that resonates with our guys. Want to make those guys proud. They want to play like them, but we don't want to go in a time capsule and go backwards, brother. We want to go straight ahead, and we want to make it happen now.
Love that mentality from Coach Mario Cristobal. The second-ranked Miami Hurricanes, again, off this week, and then big feature game next week in Tallahassee against Florida State. One more MLB little note here before we get to Bill Sparrows from Bookies.com, senior betting analyst. So MLB, I forgot to mention this when I did my rundown at 7 o'clock, but MLB is going to implement the automated ball strike challenge system starting next season, or the ABS. Each team will get 2 challenges and can keep them if they are successful. Challenges can only be initiated by a pitcher, catcher, or batter, and the request must come right after the pitch. So that is going to be interesting, probably long overdue, and we'll see what happens there. But anyway, just like that, we welcome in for his weekly visit the one and only Bill Sparrows, for the senior betting analyst from Bookies.com. We've got a lot to talk about today, lots talking about. But Bill, nice win last night for the Red Sox. Good morning. What is that?
Strike three.
Strike
three.
Take me to your leader.
No, what's going to happen next year? Alex Cora is going to be accurate with the strike. Everybody's going to say, strike 3, you're terminated. He's going to zap them. So I want to know who the first manager is going to get zapped by the robo-umps next year. He's going to walk over like, the Terminator. Bzz, bzz, bzz. You are terminated.
You are K. You strike out. They could do the upside down K or the right side up K, depending if it's caught looking or swinging. Anyway, so I take it. Are you in favor of that? I mean,
yes.
I'm in favor of it too. But so you like it?
Well, my position on replay has always been that within a reasonable time frame, the athlete should always get credit for making the right play. So I understand the human element. Oh, let's just keep the human element. Okay. The problem I see with that is that when an athlete makes a play but doesn't get credit for the play, that's fundamentally wrong. And, we have technology. Why not use it? would we not use technology that's available to treat an injury or to monitor the time of the game or to control the temperature of an indoor stadium or to develop equipment that's safer? Of course not. So why does technology have to stop at the goal line or at the baseline in baseball? No, the technology, again, as long as it doesn't impede the game too much, frankly, I think every NFL play should be reviewable. I think you should get 2 all carte blanche reviews per game, and you have a 60 or a 90-second time limit. And if you can't make that determination, then the call stands. I think that should be the way in baseball. I think this is a great idea. It took 13 or 14 seconds during spring training. I mean, it's not going to take long. And there's if you go online, you could probably go back maybe 15 years and look at every single pitch that was thrown in Major League Baseball over the last 15 years and whether or not it was called correctly. And I'm sure Major League Baseball did that.
Yeah, but Bill, just in this past season, there have been some horrific calls.
Oh, of course.
I mean, horrific calls that should have been overturned, that would absolutely be overturned, and some in very critical situations.
Yeah, I mean, you go back to the no-hitter that pitcher from the Tigers threw and didn't get credit for it. I mean, that, you watch that and you try to give me an argument that says we shouldn't have replay. No, you should have replay because, again, the athlete, he threw the no-hitter, he didn't get credit for it. The players in football make a catch, but before replay, they weren't getting credit for it. So, no, I think, if a pitcher throws a strike, he should get credit for a strike. If a batter takes a close call that's a ball, he should get credit for that. And because it's about athletes making plays, and they're making, this whole human element thing, that harkens back to, we have to have I'm having the humors, so I'm going to have a bloodletting, as opposed to, taking medicine that can fix something. I mean, that's, right out of the 5th century. It's idiotic. So, no, I embrace the technology. As long, we've shaved 25 minutes off the average baseball game now in the last few years. So if we have to give back, a minute, literally 4 calls, 14 seconds, literally a minute or two to get it right in a crucial situation, I think that's worth it 1,000%. And I don't think anybody's going to question the technology. I think everybody's bought into it. Remember, none of this happens without the approval of the players. So, the players, they're the ones who play the friggin' games, and they're supporting this, so I support it.
I'm with you. Before we get to the Red Sox in a second, a very nice win last night, on the road against Toronto. By the way, they have an excellent record against the American League East this year. There's no question about it, even though Toronto's got them in the tiebreaker, so to speak. But the Red Sox are 31-19 against the AL East this year, and they've won 23 of the past 32 against division foes. 23-9 their last 32. Excellent. And I think they got a great chance today with Crochet going up against Scherzer. And this could be one of those games. Hopefully the Red Sox can score another. Anytime they score more than 4 runs, I get goosebumps. But I think I got a feeling Crochet is going to have an excellent game tonight, and we'll take it from there. But we'll see. We'll get to that in a second. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. You tweeted out Jeff Passan, and I saw this myself. On August 25th, the Tigers had a 12.5 game lead over Cleveland, and now the Guardians, who beat Detroit last night, scary situation last night with Skubal and Fry. I don't know if you saw that play. That was scary. And Skubal came unglued after it. He had the trifecta, walk, balk, wild pitches. He clearly affected him. Cleveland came back and won the game. But you talk about a 1978 type of collapse. I mean, my God. And the tiebreaker right now, Detroit's, Cleveland he's for at least a 24-hour period, or 12 hours anyway. They've got the division lead. It's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, I think the 78 and 2011 Red Sox are off the hook now. But remember in 1978, not only did the Red Sox blow a 14-game lead against the Yankees,
and the Brewers.
The Red Sox were 3 games out of first with a week to play in 1978. And they won, I think, 6 out of 7, or maybe their last 7.
Yep.
Because remember, they tied the Yankees on the last day of the season because I was at Fenway Park when all this happened. The Yankees lost to Cleveland, and the Red Sox beat Toronto, and Jack Brohammer caught the pop-up to end the game, and everybody went crazy. I was there. So at least the 78 Red Sox came back to force the playoff game. You know, I look at more the 2011 Red Sox as being the all-time gaggers. Because they fell at the wire. They were caught at the wire. Maybe the only problem for Cleveland is maybe they peaked, 5 games too soon. I don't know. Got to give them a lot of credit, though. I mean, they keep winning, and they were down 15. They were 15 games out of first in July, and they didn't panic, and they didn't sell a lot, and now they're probably going to make the playoffs. Although, the Red Sox are in great shape with the tiebreakers. If they manage to sweep, if they manage to win one more game against the Blue Jays and sweep the Tigers, they'll actually own the tiebreaker against the Tigers as well.
Now we're going to start thinking, though, the Yankees are only a game behind. The Yankees are only a game behind Toronto for the division. I would rather play the Yankees in the post. I know this. Be careful what you wish for, because I played this game before with myself. And sometimes it's like, you know what, just get in and don't worry about who you play, because you're going to have to play well no matter what. I know this year they match up much better, either home and away, with the Yankees, and I understand that. But I played that game before with, this team is better off playing that team. And then more times than not, it can backfire on you. So just get in, and we'll worry about, to get in the tournament, as Bill Parcells said, we'll worry about the opponent later, right? I mean, but the Yankees are not going to just pack it in here. They're going to go for the division.
Yeah, I think, it's a coin flip, right? I think the division means a lot more to the Yankees as an organization. They need to make up steps this year. They need to win the World Series, I think. I don't know how Cashman and Boone keep their jobs if they don't, but good for everybody else. Yeah, it's not that they made the playoffs last night, but all that means that we get to watch them lose in the playoffs, right? We get to see them eliminated. You get to see the Yankees eliminated at one stage or another between now and the end of the season. And one of my favorite nights a year is to watch the Yankees post-game show after they get eliminated. That's always a highlight of my viewing calendar. It's been 4 out of the last 25 years. It's been abject misery. So that's pretty awesome. That's awesome.
I want to just go back quickly to reminisce about 78, because I was 11. I was in 5th grade. And I remember this was in Warwick, Rhode Island, at Drum Rock Elementary School. I remember my teacher, who the hell was it? Mrs. DeWare. All the teachers, this is in Warwick, Rhode Island now. This is not in downtown Boston. We're, hour and 44, an hour and a half away. Called to tell the parents that we were getting out of school an hour early for the game. So instead of getting out at the time, I think it was like 3 o'clock, we were getting out, or 2 o'clock, 2:10 or whatever it was. We got out at 1:10. So they let us out of school an hour early to get home so you could watch the game. Of course, we all know what happened. And to even make the worst was we had directly across the street from where I lived, I had, I won't say their last name, but Andrea, Gina, Michelle, and I think there was another sister. The whole family, diehard Yankee fans. And when that last pop-up happened, and me and a bunch of friends went outside, we're just, throwing the baseball around, trying not to think about it. They just go, "The Yankees won!" I think I hummed a rock at the house. I shouldn't have, but I did. But that was awful. Anyway, so where were you? And so I was home. We got home at school an hour. Where'd you watch that game on that Monday afternoon?
I was in section 22 behind home plate.
Keith Jackson calling the game.
I was at the game.
Well, do you have season tickets then, or did you got a ticket?
No, No, that's a whole nother story
How'd
for
you get that ticket? That's pretty good.
that's a
Grandstand section.
6-hour podcast story. But no, we went to the
Beat
game,
somebody
and
up?
when the ninth inning, we snuck down, my brothers and I, and we were in the box seats. We snuck down the box seats about 6 rows off the field when Yes popped up. And it was so quiet. We were directly across the field from Steinbrenner, and we could actually hear him clapping after the last pop-up. It was so quiet in Fenway Park. We were
Almighty.
kind of between first and the on-deck circle, and he was kind of directly across there. You know how it is.
Yeah.
And, yeah, we could actually hear him clapping across the field, him and his buddies clapping after the end of the game. That's how quiet it was. The quietest I had ever heard any outdoor venue.
Well,
at all.
the other thing too is when Den hits the home run after really almost. I remember watching the game. I was like, he can't bat. He fouled a massive foul ball off his
Yeah.
plate. It took about 18,000 minutes for him to get going.
Yep.
Again, and I was like, he can't even. This is going to be easy. And then a little pop fly, and it's true. And those of you go back, and Yaz does buckle his knees. He actually, like he was going to collapse.
Yeah.
When that ball ever so gently fell into the net.
Well, we were, I was behind the plate, so I couldn't see the ball. All I was watching was Yaz, and I saw Yaz run into the wall.
Yeah.
And then I realized it was a home run.
And they still had a chance at the end. But anyway, hey, it made us stronger fans, right? It made us stronger fans.
Yeah, it steeled all the misery of watching them lose the World Series in person when I was 10 and that game when I was 13. That pretty much made me who I am today. Completely miserable and dead inside.
It does build character, though, right? It does build
Oh,
character.
yeah, it built a lot of character.
You're shoveling snow, it builds character. You live in the cold.
I shoveled snow. I did it all. I built a lot of character.
I've shoveled enough snow. I've seen the leaves change a million times. It's very nice. It's very pleasant. I don't care about the leaves changing anymore. I care about my palm tree leaves blowing in the wind, and I don't want to see snow again, ever, 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 ever. All right, you had an interesting, which I retweeted yesterday, story on the betting update. And, of course, UMass, to me, is a disgusting program. They should not be allowed to play anybody in football. And I don't blame the kids. I don't know how that school's athletic department has not become more bankrupt because your football team is an embarrassment to sports, the way they have played. I told my good friend Gabe Morency, who I have on every Friday, when I said, I don't care what Iowa was favored by, 35-45, I go lay it. And Iowa covered. They won. They won by 40 plus and covered. This week, Missouri, UMass going to embarrass themselves. They'll take the $500,000 or $600,000 paycheck. Missouri is a 44.5-point favorite. Lay it against Massachusetts, against UMass. Bet up from 42.5 points. But this is interesting. You can't bet on the game in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
That's right.
Why?
That's right.
Why is it's Seinfeld would say? Why is that?
Well, with now NCAA President Charlie Baker signed the Massachusetts Sports Wagering Act of 2022 into law at about 11 o'clock in the morning on August 12th, 2022. Yes, I remember that. I remember all that. The law in Massachusetts prohibits wagering on colleges and universities located within the boundaries of the Commonwealth that are not engaged in a tournament of at least 4 teams.
Can I just say something real quick? And think about how absurd that is. When it used to be the rule only, when betting was only legal in Vegas, you couldn't bet on UNLV or Nevada. You couldn't bet on any of the college teams, or if there was any professional team playing. You couldn't bet on Nevada sports. Now that's all gone. So you can bet the house on UNLV if you want, and Dan Mullen, what he's doing out there. And now you can't do it in Massachusetts. That's crazy to me.
You also can't do it in New Jersey or Connecticut.
Really?
So everybody who wants to bet UConn in Connecticut has to go over the border to Springfield or to New York or to Rhode Island.
Because they think tampering is going to happen in this day and age like that.
These one of the things I love about sports betting is that it's a great example of civics and governance. because every single state that has sports betting has enacted it via either an election referendum, B, a compact with a native tribe negotiated by the House, Senate, and signed into law by the governor, or it was enacted into law by a majority vote in each state legislature and signed into law by the governor. So every state in the country where there's sports betting, it was enacted in however every other law in that same state's been enacted. It's a terrific example, how a bill becomes a law. And in every state where it's been legalized, there's been political horse trading along the way. And a lot of these states, like Connecticut and New Jersey, people who don't necessarily understand gambling in Massachusetts, the geniuses on Beacon Hill said, "Oh, we don't want to have in-state gambling on in-state teams because that's going to cause problems." Meanwhile,
but are they going back past history? What happened with Dr. Tom Davis in '78 in BC, and then what happened later on when that Pittsburgh game, which I remember being at the Bruins game, and I'm watching BC play Pitt. I'm going, what the hell is this? And then all hell broke loose. I mean, it's because of those couple of incidents you think that influenced the Commonwealth's decision-making process?
Well, my argument was going to be that they weren't aware of those incidences and think that, we're going to make sure this never happens when in reality it has happened a million times. Charlie Baker was a JV basketball player at Harvard when the varsity team covered against BC in one of the all-time great fixes in the history of college basketball.
Yep.
I had to look that up to see he only played JV at Harvard. He never played varsity, but it would have been
that game's in the 30 for 30 documentary.
Yes,
I was there. I was there. I forget the guy's name who started. I sat next to him during the whole screening process many years ago. Oh my God, it was fascinating.
Well, I know it would have been really funny if Charlie Baker had been on the court playing for Harvard at that time, but he came close. I mean, he was on the JV team, so. So that would have been a fun full circle of history moment. But when some of these states enacted sports betting, there were legislative concerns, and it's like, hey, if you need 3 votes and the Karen caucus is opposed to gambling in the state, you say, okay, well, we won't allow gambling on in-state teams, and voila. So if you want to ride with the Missouri Tigers,
you should.
This weekend, you just need to go to the Brook or the Nash, or if you're near Connecticut or New York, just geotag yourself over the border and bet to your heart's content.
They will lose by 50 plus. I promise you. Missouri is undefeated. They're 4-0 the SEC. They're ranked 20th in the country. I'm thinking 63-3. Something like that. Honestly, unless Missouri, really screwed up and fumbled at the 1 yard line or something like that on a kickoff or something like. I don't see UMass scoring. This is a pretty good Missouri team, and it's one of those embarrassing moments in Division I sports where you have to witness it, and I can't stand games like this, and I can't stand programs like UMass, and unfortunately from where I lived most of my life in Massachusetts, it's embarrassing what that program has become. It really is. It's got to be in the top 3 worst ever sports programs in the country in the last 50 years. I do not say that lightly. You can maybe look at Prairie View A&M back in the day, in all sports. And I don't know how in this day and age, if you don't have at least a decent football team that's even somewhat credible, how you don't bankrupt your entire sports athletic department. It happened with Temple. I bring that example up all the time. They lost their baseball team and a couple of other teams because the football team was so bad. They kind of redeemed themselves a little bit, but UMass, I don't get it. I really don't. They don't understand.
It is amazing how they can't. UMass, in a state like Massachusetts, where's the NIL money? I don't understand why they can't. With the alumni base and all the ties they have. I mean,
there's a lot of money there.
You have to. I think what you're going to see moving forward, and you're going to see programs, that are going to have to decide whether or not they, want to compete in football, especially given the expense. I don't understand why schools like UMass have a football team. They don't seem to put any resources toward it. They don't seem to, there's no real caring about it. There's no passion about it. So it'll be interesting. I mean, so many things are changing in the landscape of sports. This is like, the 2020s are like the 1920s when everything changed in the 1920s. Everything's changing in this decade. Technology wise, television wise, the way, the game is played. Look at all the changes in football and baseball we've had in this decade. And it's like everything is changing and we're in the middle of it. And, I think in 5 years, things might shake out where you don't have teams like UMass that have football anymore, or they move down, to 1AA or FBC.
Well, they're stuck in the MAC now for a while, so they got that income, which is a little bit more than being an independent the way they were. So somehow, some way, by the goodness of the MAC's conference heart, teams like Kent State and Buffalo and Bowling Green and the Chippewas of Central Michigan embraced UMass coming in because then they can beat the shit out of them.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, they have a pass.
UMass has scored 43 points in 3 games and given up 116. And I don't think they're going to score on Saturday. I think they're going to give up at least 60.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Again, everything takes time, and we'll see. Right? We'll see. The old adage. We'll see. We'll see what happens with this, with streaming, with gambling, with the robot umpires. I think you're going to see a manager murdered by, Terminator umpire or a player. That would be kind of nuts. But we'll see.
We'll wait and see. And then ESPN this morning had some blur, but they didn't really get into about how there's going to be less managerial ejections. I didn't catch.
There'll be
they didn't really get
fewer managerial ejections.
Fewer managerial ejections. Yes.
Well, obviously, look, if you're going to be tossed for arguing a strike or a ball, that'll be adjudicated via the robot Terminator umpire. Why would you be ejected? So obviously, yeah, that makes perfect sense. There's fewer flashpoints to argue, thus there would be fewer reasons to get ejected. Maybe Alex Cora needs to get ejected because his listening device is not working and he has to go and watch the game on TV and flash the signals back to the.
I'll tell you what, he's going to be. Maybe what's his name with Cleveland gets it, but Alex Cora might get manager of the year. He might.
Yeah, that's true. I haven't really thought about that. I haven't even looked at that market. I don't know where it stands, but yeah, it would be I don't know, whoever manages the Brewers. I don't even know his name.
Well, that's National League, but the American League should be. Yeah, you're right. But then
they give out like manager of the year now for like every division. I mean, what is this?
No, just American League, National League. American League, National.
We're going to get participation trophy, AL East, best effort.
And then see the Yankees last night. The Red Sox do it. The Red Sox will do it too. Although the last time they were in the postseason, right? They didn't really, when they got to the ALCS before losing to Houston in 6. When they clinched back in 2020 or 2021, I don't remember a huge celebration. It was the first. They were like one. I was proud of them. I was like, don't be popping champagne like you won the World Series. I mean, we've gotten so everybody just wants to celebrate. Hey, we beat the number 24 ranked team in the country. Let's storm the field and rip down the goalpost. You're supposed to do that when you win the American League pennant. That's one thing. You win the World Series, obviously. This other phony baloney storming the field and celebrating all the time because, and it really aggravates me in college. It used to be you beat the number 1 or number 2 team in the country, or maybe you end some sort of streak that's decades old. That's acceptable. You beat the number 20 team. Like Georgia Tech beating Clemson a couple weeks ago. Okay, you were only underdogs by 3 points. Number 1, number 2. Most of the country thought you were going to win that game. I mean, you storm on the field because you beat Clemson, I mean, they're not the only ones. It aggravates me. And I'm not the get off my lawn type of guy. I'm just saying, beat a top-ranked team before you storm the field or the
Well,
basketball.
now beating Clemson doesn't mean much. I guess it did 2 weeks. Doesn't mean much anymore. I tell you, we got Belichick and Dabo. The loser of that game gets Jordan Hudson. That's
Wait a second. Did you see the sideline? Little kissy? I know one of the thing was AI generated, but did you see him hugging her before the game on the sideline? I couldn't believe. I don't know if you heard John Gruden on Barstool Sports yesterday or the day before.
I did.
Oh my God. I mean, it's embarrassing, and he doesn't give a shit. It's unbelievable. I mean, not John. I'm talking about Bill Belichick. It looks so bad. And Clemson probably back on track when they clobber North Carolina. I mean, UC. If I had $1 million, would have taken UC. I don't know how that line was only 7 or 7.5, because they had no chance of winning that game in that atmosphere. But just the side, I'm watching. I go, oh my God, this is beyond embarrassing. Beyond embarrassing.
Well, again, they play Clemson next week, and that game it would have been a lot of fun if they were both undefeated. It's even more fun in this situation because, you know, you got to start wondering if both of those. I mean, literally, both of those coaches are like in trouble. I mean, I'm going to say Belichick's in trouble only because there's going to be a lot of NFL openings very soon, but. Dabo's in trouble.
Dabo's in trouble because he and Mike Gundy share the same Vulcan Mimel. They don't want to adapt to the business side of college football. But you tweeted out, I want to say, was it after the game Saturday? I retweeted it. That picture of before and after of Bill, like, you know, early on in camp at North Carolina, as opposed to, it looked like when presidents leave the White House, you know, they've been briefed and then they're white as a ghost or whatever. Like, that was I was like, he's going to end up in a hospital.
He does not look healthy at all. I know we've talked about this. Yeah. I mean, he doesn't look good at all. And yeah, there were 2 games I loved last weekend, both played in the state of Florida and both because of the weather, Jacksonville and UCF. I mean, that stadium in UCF's like an old radar range. It literally
awesome.
it heats up.
Yep.
And yeah, Carolina that was one of the games I circled on the schedule before the year started, saying there's no way they're going to win this game. And of course, Jacksonville wins like they do every year in late September because they play a team that's not used to the climate, and said team melts in the fourth quarter. But things are not well in Chapel Hill, and I mean, I'm very much interested in that game next week because, you know, it's really hard. That one's going to be a tough one. I'll lean toward Clemson. You know, they'll probably get a decent number, even though it's on the road. I don't think road and home means anything in the ACC unless you're in like Clemson at night or something.
Yeah.
So I'm going to lean. I'll lean into Clemson there, and I think they'll get their act together. And you're going to see a lot of NFL openings up, and you know the Giants again.
I don't know how they both survived. Sheen, the GM, and Daboll.
And it's like you're gonna have the Dolphins and the Giants with ownership. The 2 owners in the world that would be at least 1% open to the possibility of having a Belichick regime where he runs everything.
I think Stephen Ross would be in the lead there. They missed on Brady. They got to make some sort of a splash. No, maybe good, bad, or indifferent. But I'm sure he'll get mixed emotions. But that organization, and Stephen Ross is a nice man. I mean, he does a lot of good things in South Florida, but he just can't run a football team. He does everything besides running the Dolphins. He does great things and gives a lot back to the community and all that stuff. And I commend him for all of that. But as an owner, he sucks for the Miami Dolphins. And the fact that, you know, Chris Greer, unfortunately, and by the condolences I said yesterday, Bobby Greer passing away, one of the nicest men I've ever met in this business. But Chris is running, the GM is running the Dolphins. His other son is running the San Jose Sharks. Both teams in complete disarray. But Stephen Ross, to me, Bill, has got to make some sort of a splash here. And I don't know any bigger name that could do it than Bill Belichick. Because I think he's going to be out of Carolina after this year.
Yeah, I think so too. And I don't, you know, the other thing in, you know, South Florida, it's always kind of apathy, but man, you got a Stanley Cup dynasty cooking down there,
Yep.
and you got a college football team that's number 2. Although, whenever Georgia meets Miami in a playoff game, there's no way Carson Beck is beating a Kirby Smart defense.
Oh, I don't know about that. First of all, Miami's defense is better than Georgia's. Their offensive line is better than Georgia's. The receivers are better than Georgia's. And the reason why he's not even at Georgia because their receivers dropped the ball and their offensive line couldn't block. No, this is a different animal. It's a different Miami Hurricane team.
Kirby practiced against him for 4 years.
I don't care. He hadn't practiced against that defense, and Ruben Bain will chew up anybody on that Georgia offensive line. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Georgia's offense will have 15 yards, and Carson Beck will have 3 pick sixes.
No, they won't. No, this is not that. No, this is not the Georgia receivers. I'm telling you, this Canes team is real. They are legit, and Malachi Toney will chew them up. But that's about 12 weeks down the road.
Carson Beck is going to throw 5 pick sixes.
No, he is not. No, he is not.
It's going to be like back in the day when Saban used to mind meld against Kirby's. Just going to look at him. He's just going to look at him.
No, yeah, Kirby's got enough on his plate.
He's going to shake his hand, and he's going to drain like when you shake your hand, you lose he's just going to lose everything.
Absolutely not. You get the
It'll
wrong
be like
guy.
shaking the hand of the Reaper.
This is the wrong team. I will have a gentleman's bet with you. But who knows? They may not even play in the postseason. Who the hell knows? But I think they'll both be there. That's for damn sure. Alabama and Georgia this week, right? Yeah.
Yes.
No. Yeah, this week.
Massive week.
Yes.
Kent State, Oregon, Georgia, Alabama, LSU, Ole Miss.
How can anybody bet Penn State in any way, shape, or form? You got to
pick Oregon. No, I'm out on. Let James Franklin prove me wrong. Until that happens, they
2-21 against ranked teams and top 10 teams. He's 0-7, whatever it is. He can't beat anybody good. There is no way. I will bet Oregon every which way I can on Saturday. And so, as you said, James Franklin proves to me that he can beat anybody that has a tic-tac-toe board and a number next to them. He can't do it.
Yeah. Well, that's we'll see. The Ducks usually handle business home or on the road.
Yep.
And that's a Big Ten game. So that's going to be that's your Big Ten championship feel kind of game. I mean, they're gonna empty it out because you're getting. That's the other thing to look for too in these conference games.
Mm-hmm.
Point differential is going to matter in tiebreakers.
Yes.
So you're going to see big numbers in these conference games, and these teams aren't letting up because they can't. You can't let up in a conference game because point differential is like the second or third tiebreaker.
Yeah.
So you're not going to see in a lopsided like anybody versus UCLA.
Well, look at Indiana.
It's going to be like 50-0.
Look what the Hoosiers did at home to Illinois last week.
Exactly.
I mean, they could have called off the Dogs, but they ran it up, and I don't blame them. That was an absolute ass whooping. Against another there's an overrated team, the Illini. They should have never been ranked that high to begin with, in my opinion. But
yeah, Indiana's won. They won 10 straight, and they were 9-0-1 against the line in their first 10 games last year. They're 4-0 and 4-0 this year. So yeah, they're a great team, early season team to look at. If you're looking at bets or parlay legs and all that.
No, I agree. All right. Anything else going on? And again, Bill Sparrow, senior betting analyst from bookies.com, joining us. Anything else in the world of, I saw another tweet that you had, younger bettors driving U.S. gambling as debt raises red flags.
Yes, very ominous. That was released this morning. It was an embargoed story. I actually published it when I was on the air with you.
Yes.
TransUnion, they do the credit scores.
Yes.
They're one of the 3 people that have your credit score, and they do an annual betting survey, and it was released today. I got a copy of it early. I spoke with the guy who put it together yesterday and, had my story up and published this morning.
I just retweeted your story, by the way.
Thank you. And actually it's an interesting, it's more of a macro look at where things stand economy wise. I mean, young people are obviously more risk tolerant than older people. That's a given. But in terms of the increase in gambling, which, that's usually a harbinger of bad economic times when money and gambling increases. That's a sign that people are not doing well financially. It's kind of an inverse thing. So the takeaway that they told me was that there's an increase in debt, and a lot of people, there's an increase in gambling. Now they didn't do the subset of people who gamble in the debt. It was just a general two general increases, but they didn't cross pollinate the two subsets. So there was an increase in gambling. There's an increase in debt, especially among younger people, 21 or 18 to 34. And the concern is that the wages aren't keeping up, and that the employment picture is obviously getting muddied for a lot of different reasons. So it's kind of a flashpoint. It's kind of the takeaway. The message is to, anyone in the gaming space, be careful because your customers might run out of money soon. So act accordingly, which means more responsible gaming initiatives and better customer monitoring. Because you don't want to kill the golden goose. And since most legal betting does not allow credit, you can't use a credit card to fund your accounts in Massachusetts, for instance. Most states are like that. Some states aren't.
Yep. But you can't oversee still, which I know a lot of these.
Well, again, that was another part of the survey that we talked about was, there's too much access. There's still way too much access in this country to offshore books that do take credit, and other forms of payment that are much more, speculative in nature, like crypto. So it is this was kind of a warning shot, basically.
Yeah.
Was, the guy who put the study, their job is to provide data. And this is a data point now that people could consider and use, just both in terms of the macro picture and in terms of if you're running a sports book, for instance, you have to look beyond the next quarter. You have to look beyond football season. Football season's great. We all make hay during football season, but come next summer, are these people going to have any money left? That's really the takeaway of this.
Well, that's the thing. And the other thing too, if those of you who are betting overseas, and I think the numbers about the younger adults that you have, with 34% of Generation Z and 42% of millennials engaged in wagering. But when you bet overseas, I know you probably know this. So if you're say, I'll just use Bovada like I used to. If I put $25 in or $30 in, when you see it on your bank statement, first of all, your bank will probably call you and say, what is this? Because it comes up as a transaction sometimes in China, sometimes a gas station, some restaurant in London, in the UK. And it's not just Bovada that does it; it's all these other ones. So if you're a parent out there and you see something, for some reason your son or daughter is connected to a overseas site, and you see, what's this charge from China? What's $20? That's how they deal with it. That's how they get away with it. And they will tell you, if you talk to officials over there, do not ever tell your bank that you are playing online poker or you're doing anything overseas, because all it does, the bank will call and ask you, what is this overseas stuff? Is that, and just say, no, I'm in business, I do business overseas. And usually that's it. You just say that and they hang up and they'll put a little check mark next to it that, yes, you're doing business overseas. But it will come up for Beijing, the UK, and God only knows where else it comes up on the bank statement. That's how they get away with it. So I'm surprised that still hasn't, that loophole though still exists, Bill.
Well, again, that's what, DraftKings fan. I mean, I talk to these people about this stuff all the time, and the people they'll say, look, yes, Congress, why don't you talk about this whenever you want to talk about federal regulations for sports betting? We're on board with that, but also ban all of this for us. In other words, if you want to regulate us, you got to protect us. The states are doing the best. I'll say now, the states are finally doing what they can do, but they're very limited. The federal government can block any IP address from anywhere. They can end all these financial transactions overnight.
But do they see the things I just talked about? Does somebody show them, hey, look what Bovada's doing? Somebody deposited $50 and it says it's not for poker, it's for Beijing, or it's at the UK at some gas station for some, why do I never hear of that kind of stuff come up when these debates happen?
Well, I think that it probably happens in, maybe a conference committee or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think nowadays, now in 2015, it is really hard to launder money, because of the technology now. And if you're in crypto, that just raises a red flag for, the IRS or state tax people. So it's not quite that easy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you're going to have a federal sports betting act, that would include things like a national minimum age of 21, a national, self-exclusion registry, probably some limits on advertising along the way that they can do it with cigarette advertising. Like, in other words, no, they're not going to you can't ban ads, but, maybe limit language or some sort of restrictions on that, and some sort of, quasi bureaucracy to deal with problem gambling, and maybe some federal studies and all that. I can see all that happening. I can see operators getting on board with that if there's protections from offshore books in regard to banking, in regard to IP access. But all that technical stuff that you're talking about, they're aware of all of it. I've talked to money laundering people, and they told me great stories, but they're aware of everything.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to do anything online now, in terms of an illicit or questionable transaction. And your bank is going to flag everything.
Everything. Absolutely.
Because, when my wife was an attorney, people would pay her retainers in cash, and she would deposit the retainers. And when we got audited, they thought that she was money laundering. And then she showed them the, retainer agreements and said, oh no, this guy paid me this much money on this day because I
Smart lady. Keep track of everything.
And so, it turned out they gave us the 3-year audit. We were off by $19. So they said, never mind. And that was the end of it. But the point is that they're always looking for this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And there are other issues right now that the federal government's dealing with, namely the trading markets and the Consumer Finance Trading Corporation, which regulates Kalshi and Robinhood and Polymarket when it gets to the U.S. But again, these other things will come. And it's hard because a lot of people want everything resolved today, and it's not going to happen. In much the same way it's taken baseball this long to get to reviewing balls and strikes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's taken the NFL this long to figure out the kickoff thing. And you're going to see field goals are going to be narrowed or moved into the stands or turned upside down or something, because you're going to have guys someone's going to kick a 70-yard field goal this year. And once that happens, you basically have to go 20 yards to be in scoring position now. It's insane. So you're going to see a change in the kicking because the kickers are all now super duper athletes. It's not like back in the day we had a guy with a half a foot kicking footballs. Now every single kicker on the team is like the best athlete on the team because they're all playing in their 40s.
They're all soccer players and former soccer players. So in
the same way that you saw, you're going to see something done with the goalposts. Probably they'll just narrow them.
I heard somebody propose this the other day on the national show on ESPN. I was driving, which I don't usually listen to. It was a midday show. And one of the producers is like, they should eliminate field goals, that they should make you go for field goals unless it's 30 yards or less. That way you can't kick a 50-yarder anymore. You can't. You have to go on fourth. You have to go for it on fourth down. It was kind of an absurd type of thing. I sort of got where he was coming from, or he was going to say, if you know, make it less points. He had this a bunch of theories about people. I don't think he can do that. I don't want to.
No, I think all you do is adjust the goalposts.
Yeah.
You know, that's the simplest thing to do, because that makes it more challenging, and it does that without changing anything else. It's the simplest thing to do. Just like how baseball made the bases bigger, and nobody even remembers, nobody even notices that anymore. Nobody realizes that the bases are whatever 20.
You know what I notice now? The hamburger helper, not glove, but mitt.
Yeah.
That extends your fingers by like a couple of inches. That makes a difference. I don't understand how that is allowed.
I don't
really
either.
don't. I can't stand it. There used to be running gloves. Yeah, that was like a batting glove. Not an oven mitt. That's an oven mitt.
Pretty soon you got to see the guy with like a giant stick.
Yeah.
He's going to be halfway down the line touching the bag.
But do people realize? I mean, that adds an extra, like an extra millimeter means something in playoff baseball. An extra, that's like an extra. Where are those fingers coming up on that oven mitt? You know, you're getting an extension of your hand. I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, I want somebody to like take a glove and put it on the end of a pool cue and just stick it into third base. So they're 8 feet from the bag, but they're safe.
All right, Bill, what else? Thanks for taking this time. What else you got coming up? I just retweeted your story, which is excellent. Really kind of scary for Generation Z and millennials to see the increase, such a significant increase. But what else you got going on?
Well, you know, football season's pretty locked in, right? You know, we have college and NFL picks. I got watchability. I do the watchability of the NFL schedule every week. In 2 weeks, I'm going to be in Las Vegas at the Global Gaming Expo, and hopefully I spent pretty much yesterday trying to set up stories that I'm going to try to write there, reaching out to everybody. But it's you know, again, it's a very tumultuous time in the betting space because of trading markets and because of offshore. Offshore is still a huge problem for legal operators, and frankly, I think for consumers. And you know, we kind of saw the favorites that run of favorites cooled off a little bit this week in the NFL. And we'll be talking about that on our Bookies Plus Picks streaming show, which will be on tomorrow at 2:30 online.
Sweet.
So, you know, I think you want to be wary of those sorts of trends, so to speak, because everybody's been talking about, oh, the favorites are winning. It was, you know, but if you go back 3 years ago, they weren't winning. So this was just a correction of what had been happening 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Markets always revert to the mean. So every time there's kind of a lopsided thing where totals are over, there's all the overs are hitting, that's going to correct. Just because there's a baseline that's been formed by millions and millions and millions of outcomes. So this whole thing with the favorites winning, that's kind of, and I'm talking about winning outright, not covering. Yeah. That tempered a little bit last week. I think you're going to see more of that. I like a lot of underdogs this week.
How about the Rams? I mean, the Rams last week was the killer. I mean,
well, that was like the greatest cover worst beat like in the last 5 years in the NFL.
Right up there.
And again, it's sort of the wonder of gambling, right? Where, you know, that game was over. Well, maybe not because they could have won it with the field goal. But you know, when you wager, it does give you a reason to watch the game until like the literal mathematical end of it.
Yeah.
You know, let's say you bet the Indians to win the division. I hope you didn't burn your ticket or smash your phone in July, because they're going to win that division. You know, I bet the Red Sox at plus 230 to make the playoffs in June.
Excellent.
And I think they're going to make the playoffs. So that's the upside of gambling. That's what makes gambling fun in reason, of course.
Sure.
Is that it makes it that much more entertaining. You know, whoever had whatever side you were on that Rams game the other day, you experienced an extreme emotion that's pretty hard to duplicate outside the gambling space, in my opinion. I think if you scored a cover on that game, and you know you had the Eagles and they covered on that play, and you could hear it in the crowd because the game was won, right?
Yes.
The second the field goal was over, I think people would have been humored by the touchdown. But you could hear that crowd, and I know that yell. And there were a lot of people in that stadium that had the Eagles -3.5 that went bonkers on that play. And I think that contributed markedly to the delirium in that stadium.
Well,
in addition to the fat guy running and scoring a touchdown.
Thank God for me, I had a 4-teamer 10-point teaser, so I had the Rams plus 13.5. So I was just, but on my show, obviously, I picked the Rams. I thought the Rams might win the game outright, but anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if the guy makes the kick, they do.
Yeah.
They do win it outright.
Yep. Thank you so much for everything. Check out Bill Sparrow, senior betting analyst on bookies.com. Lots of great content on there, and check out your streaming show tomorrow at 2:30 as well. Make sure I retweet that as well when you come on. You'll be on your Twitter page too, right?
Yeah, we stream it live online, and I'll share it after the fact.
Okay. Sounds good, my friend. Thank you so much. Great analysis and great insight as always. And we'll talk next week. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Pete.
All righty. There he goes. Just like that. One and only senior betting analyst from bookies.com. It is Bill Sparrows joining us. A lot of good stuff there. Angel Martinez. Man, I'm a little wiped.
I was going to say, it's a pretty action-packed hour.
It goes by so quick. It goes by so quick. All right, what we got coming up on the show tomorrow? That's going to about do it for us today. Tomorrow and Friday we'll have full shows until 10. Lots of great guests coming up tomorrow as well. But what we got going on today? Anything?
What is today? Today is Wednesday, so it's a pretty quiet day around here on a Wednesday, at least for the moment. Soon, We the Thunder podcast, that'll be starting up here as the season gets underway for the Tampa Bay Lightning. So that'll be on Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock. So I guess I can plug that here.
Yep.
It should be starting about 2 weeks or so from now. We the Thunder with Shooter and Schooley. And other than that, you guys can always go back, listen to the replay. Don't forget, as always, download the app on SR1029thegame.com, also on CoastalSportsDigitalNetwork.com. And you can always hear us over on the Odyssey app, as we appreciate those who do from all around the world.
Angel, you're the best. Thank you for producing this whole thing, chiming in. Thanks to Bill Sparrows, our guest from bookies.com, senior betting analyst. I am Pete. Thanks to all of you for checking out the show. I'm back tomorrow at 7 in the a.m., hopefully talking about another Red Sox win with Garrett Crochet on the hill tonight. Have a great and safe rest of your Hump Day Wednesday, everybody. See ya.
Open up the window, let some air into this room. I think I'm almost choking from the smell of stale perfume. And that cigarette you're smoking, I'll scare me half to death. Open up the window, sucker, let me catch my breath.